Home Ministry bans a Belt and Road initiative for Win-Winism comic book. Hello and good afternoon. I'm Mohan Priya. Welcome to News on 2. A woman was killed after a tree fell on her yesterday during a thunderstorm as the country continued to bear the brunt of the monsoon transition phase, with floods and evacuations reported in 3 states. 3 cars were also damaged in the 5:31 p.m. incident. The woman was killed when a tree fell on her while she was walking in front of University Malaya's main entrance. This was confirmed by Fire and Rescue Operations Commander Muhammad Ramzan Muhammad in a statement. Firefighters from both the Seputeh and Pantai stations responded to the case at around 5:44 p.m. The Kuala Lumpur Fire and Rescue Department said the victim was pronounced dead by paramedics at the Pusat Perubatan University Malaya. However, the statement added, the identity of the woman has yet to be established and the body of the deceased has been handed over to the police for further action. The government will start implementing the use of Child Restraint System or CRS beginning 1st of January next year. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said the decision was made due to the rising number of road accidents involving children. Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah, who is also Women, Family and Community Development Minister, said exposure on CRS needs to be further expanded in ensuring the safety of children in cars. She also said children were exposed to a high risk of injury if they were involved in road accidents because their bodies are not the same as the adults.
Bahawa pihak JR telah mengoptimumkan penggunaan semua medium hebahan seperti TV, radio, billboard, poster, infografik, media sosial dan menghasilkan 15 video kesedaran keselamatan jalan raya termasuk video mengenai kerusi keselamatan bagi memastikan rakyat tahu dan sedar berkenaan pelaksanaan mewajibkan pemakaian kerusi keselamatan.
Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah, who was speaking during the launch of 2019 Vehicle Safety Week at Miros Crash Test Laboratory, Melaka. She further noted that the punishment for those who fail to install the CRS is yet to be determined. The Home Ministry gazetted a prohibition order on the publication of 3 Belt and Road initiative for Win-Winism comic books. Now, the prohibition order gazette under Section 7, subsection 1 of the Printing, Presses and Publications Act 1984 found that the publication may have content that may endanger public order and security. The prohibition specifies that the printing, importation, reproduction, publication, sale, production, circulation, distribution or possession of the publication is strictly prohibited in Malaysia. According to the Home Ministry's press statement, the content of the publication promotes the ideology of communism and socialism, the spread of false and confusing facts on communists with the intention to invoke support and sympathy towards the communism cause. As such, it is deemed to be insensitive towards Malaysians of multiracial and multi-religious backgrounds. Any individual perpetrating the act could be jailed not exceeding 3 years or fined not exceeding 20,000 ringgit or both if found guilty. Meanwhile, Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department Director Datuk Huzair Muhammad confirmed that police have taken a statement from the publication's comic artist.
Membuat lawatan ke kilang cetakan komik ini pada 21 bulan 10 di Shah. Semua kita dah ambil gambar dan juga kita telah rakam 2 saksi daripada syarikat pencetakan berkenaan.
So far, 46 police reports in connection with the publication and distribution of the book entitled Belt and Road Initiative for Win-Winism have been made. The case was being investigated under the Sedition Act 1948 and the Communication and Multimedia Act 1998. A roti canai maker was charged in the Petaling Jaya Magistrates Court in Selangor for the murder of an auxiliary policewoman at an apartment in Damansara Damai last week. Muhammad Faril Haikal Abdullah, 22, was accused of murdering Nur Aisha Abdullah between 2 a.m. on the 17th and 12:45 a.m. on 18th October. The accused, portraying a picture of calm, nodded after the charge was read out before Magistrate Zafran Rahim Hamzah, but no plea was recorded. Muhammad Faril Haikal, who was unrepresented, faces the mandatory death sentence if found guilty under Section 302 of the Penal Code. Deputy Public Prosecutor Siti Zubaida Mahad prosecuted, and the court set 2nd December for mention. The Election Commission EC will extend its full cooperation to the Special Select Committee on Election that was passed by Parliament last 17th October. EC Chairman Azhar Azizan Harun said the Commission would act as a check and balance mechanism on the country's executive body. Dato' Azhar, in a press statement, said the committee will also act as facilitator and improve the existing electoral process to make it more efficient and restore the people's confidence in the country's democratic system. The EC, he said, is also committed to review the current electoral process and will provide suggestions towards improving it. The Special Select Committee on Election was among 4 new select committees passed by Parliament last October 17th. On another note, Dato' Azhar said that the redelineation exercise approved by Parliament in March last year resulted in Kampung Ulu Pulai in Johor being placed in the Bandar Pekan Nanas Selatan polling district in the Tanjung Piai parliamentary constituency. He said voters in the village have had to cast their ballots at SJKC U Ming 1 since the 14th general election. Up to the 13th general election, Kampung Ulu Pulai was in the Kampung Pulai polling district in Nusa Jaya in the Gelang Patah parliamentary constituency, and the voters have had to cast their ballots at Sekolah Kebangsaan Kampung Pulai. The media had highlighted the complaints of the constituents that their polling station was almost 10 kilometers away. Dato' Azhar added that the EC is open to suggestions for improvement and strives to ensure the comfort of voters. He further noted that EC also conducts elections with transparency and integrity and complies with the laws. Former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Mohammad Najib Tun Razak will soon know whether he will be called to enter his defence or not on 7 charges of abuse of power, corruption and money laundering involving SRC International Sdn Bhd funds. The Kuala Lumpur High Court has set 11th November for the date of conclusion. High Court Judge Mohammad Nazlan Mohammad Ghazali confirmed the date at the conclusion after 58 days of the prosecution's case that commenced on 3rd April this year. Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk V. Sidambaram in his submission stated that the former Prime Minister had actual knowledge of SRC funds amounting to 42 million ringgit being deposited into his personal accounts. The prosecution had closed the case on 27th August after calling 57 witnesses in the span of 58 days throughout the trial. Coming up next, the Bank Muamalat earmarks 70 million ringgit for low-income housing schemes. Stay with us. But first, a water retention pond of the Department of Irrigation and Drainage (DID) in Sendayan Technology Valley, Negeri Sembilan, was believed to have been contaminated by chemical components. According to the state's Health, Environment, Cooperatives and Consumerism Exco as Veerapan, in addition to having blobs of white foam on the surface, the pond also smells. He did not rule out the possibility of contamination following a fire at the nearby Quality Alam Waste Management Centre earlier this month. Elaborating further, Veerapan said the chemicals from the raised centre was believed to have flown into the pond.
Tadi kita lihat ada pencemaran air, ada bau kuat dan juga ada buih atas permukaan air tersebut. Dan Jabatan Alam Sekitar telah mengambil sampel air dari kolam ini dan juga di kawasan sekitar dan di Sungai Kulai. So Jabatan Alam Sekitar akan menghantar sampel ini ke Jabatan Kimia untuk analisa.
Veerapan added that lots of water was needed to put out the blaze at the centre. Thus, the water was believed to have flown to the water retention pond through drains and nearby river Sungai Kulai. He further noted that the Quality Alam Centre had been instructed to clean up the pond. A device called oil boom is used to contain and prevent the chemical bubbles from spreading. The Johor state government remains committed in improving the infrastructure of religious schools in the state. This is to ensure that all students have a conducive learning environment. Johor Menteri Besar Datuk Dr. Shahruddin Jamal said through the Johor Religious State Council and Kumpulan Prasarana Rakyat Johor KPRJ, the delayed construction of the religious schools could be continued and finished according to schedule. He was met after officiating Sekolah Agama Melayu Raya in Pontian, Johor. During the ceremony, Datuk Dr. Shahruddin also contributed personal computers to 88 village and community chiefs in Pontian. The contributions were given to help the village and community chiefs to be more efficient and effective in serving the community. Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad has allocated 70 million ringgit under the Smart Mortgage SJKP scheme for its first-year implementation, targeting 300 customers. Its head of consumer banking, Zuri Rahimi Zainal Abidin, said the scheme, which proposed a profit-sharing ratio of 5%, was to allow those from the low-income group or without fixed income to own their first house, priced at 300 ringgit and below. The scheme was launched following an agreement between the bank and Syarikat Jaminan Kredit Perumahan SJKP Berhad that was signed yesterday to provide special housing financing scheme for the B40 group. Zuri Rahmi also said the scheme will be guaranteed by SJKP to help those without monthly income statement to own a house. He said this at the signing ceremony, followed by the launch of the scheme in Kuala Lumpur. The scheme is aimed at fishermen, farmers, factory workers, petty traders, taxi drivers and general workers, among others. It is open to Malaysians aged 18 and above with a minimum monthly net income of 1,000 ringgit. Meanwhile, SJKP General Manager Azlan Mohammad Agil said the collaboration was in line with the government's agenda to see every family own a house. Established on 1st October 1999, Bank Muamalat is 70% owned by DRB Haicom Berhad, while the remaining 30% stake belongs to Khazanah Nasional Berhad. Meanwhile, SJKP Berhad is wholly owned by the Minister of Finance Incorporated. But first, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad is expected to share his thoughts on the importance of the Non-Aligned Movement, or NAM, a multilateral forum to stand united and work together in addressing common challenges in a globalized world. After sending a strong message at the United Nations General Assembly in New York last month, Tun Dr. Mahathir will be joining again dozens of world leaders at the 18th NAM Summit in Baku, capital city of Azerbaijan. Foreign Minister Dato' Saifuddin Abdullah said this Friday Tun Dr. Mahathir is scheduled to deliver a keynote address at the NAM Summit. He is also scheduled to have bilateral meetings with his counterparts on the sidelines of the summit to discuss matters of mutual interest.
Yang tradisi tentulah isu Palestin. Selain daripada itu, bergantung kepada kenyataan bersama yang akan dikeluarkan. Misalnya, kalau soal politik, ia akan menyentuh contohnya Laut Cina Selatan, ya, juga Rohingya, ya, itu yang sudah dirundingkan. Saya jangka Perdana Menteri akan menyentuh soal kepentingan NAM dan betapa perlunya kita mendukung nilai-nilai yang telah disepakati selama ini.
Malaysia's participation in NAM will underscore the importance of the movement, which remained neutral and relevant. It also reflects Malaysia's continuous commitment to the movement. The last time Malaysia's head of representative graced the NAM summit was in the year 2009. It was noted that Malaysia hosted the 13th NAM summit in 2003, more than 16 years ago, when Dr. Mahathir was the Prime Minister then. The 18th summit of the heads of state and government of NAM will be held on 25th and 26th October. We begin with local football. Football Association of Malaysia, FAM Deputy President Datuk Sri Subhan Kamal says the association will use part of the budget allocation to upgrade the facilities at the Mokhtar Dahari Academy in Gambang, Pahang. He, however, noted that priority would be focused on strengthening the National Football Development Programme, or NFDP, that has produced many quality young footballers since its inception in 2014.
We are supposed to be a centre of excellence. So bila jadi centre of excellence tu, kita kena melengkapkan dengan teknologi-teknologi terkini, kemudahan kena baik, dan juga fokus perlu diberikan kepada kebajikan pemain dan juga kebajikan jurulatih.
The Deputy President said this after opening the regional workshop FIFA Football for Schools program in Petaling Jaya, Selangor. Datuk Sri Subhan, who is the NFDP Technical Committee Chairman, noted that a steering committee would hold a meeting in the near future to determine the compensation to be paid by the Malaysian league teams interested in acquiring AMD's players. He said the steering committee, chaired by Youth and Sports Minister Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman and comprises representatives from the National Sports Council and the Education Ministry, were looking into the best mechanism in determining the amount of compensation that AMD should receive. And that concludes this afternoon's edition of News on 2. In our top story today, Home Ministry bans Belt and Road Initiative for Win-Winism comic book. We'll be back at 7 this evening with more updates. Till then, I'm Mohana Priya. Thanks for watching.